That is being brought to us by weather forecaster Francisca Wellington and the Belize National Meteorological Service. And then we'll go into the first news brief for the morning, brought to us by Creme Newsroom under the directorship of we dynamic journalist, director, news everything sister Marcella Maya and her team. Never forget the team of people. All of them make this happen. So get ready for the weather forecast.
Good morning. Early fair weather prevails and will support sunny skies with cloudy spells today and partly cloudy skies tonight. Showers or thunderstorms will be isolated. This trend will continue Saturday and Saturday night. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will blow from the north and northwest at 5 to 15 knots and seas will be choppy. Low tides will occur at 11:28 this morning and 10:08 tonight. High tides follow at 6:08 this evening and 4:36 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 78 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 88 along the coast and 91 inland. The moon will rise at 1:23 this afternoon and sunset is at 5:33 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, sargassum amounts are expected to remain low with only minimal impact during the next 1 to 2 weeks. In the tropical weather update at 3 o'clock this morning, Tropical Storm Leslie was about 1,635 miles west-southwest of the Azores. Leslie was moving to the north at 10 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 60 miles per hour. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
A survey is being conducted in an area that is known as a major water catchment area in or near Orange Walk Town. The matter was reported by the UDP's mouthpiece, The Guardian, in this week's edition of the paper. The area where the survey is being conducted is known as the Pasadita area. The paper notes that over the years, the area has been left untouched as it is respected as a watershed area. Any development, they say, could lead to major flooding of Orange Walk Town. According to the Guardian report, an individual was given permission to survey about 16 acres of the lagoon, which has drawn concerns from other residents. The location falls within the Orange Walk East Division of Minister Kevin Bernard. He told us that he has objected to any development of the area and raised concerns about it as he acknowledges that it is indeed a major catchment area. Santiago Chao Jr., a police officer, passed away earlier this week at only 37 years of age. He had long been suffering with a debilitating bone illness that severely impacted his mobility. As a result, he was deemed medically unfit to continue in the job. It was reported in the update on his passing that the Social Security Board had denied him invalidity benefits. The SSB issued a statement in which it clarifies that in determining a person's incapacity for work, their medical board procedures are not based on the government's medical report procedures, and that the report from the government is not the determining factor in the decision-making process. The SSB's medical board comprises 2 or 3 medical doctors. The release states, quote, "To qualify for invalidity benefit according to the Social Security Act, Chapter 44 of the Substantive Laws of Belize, you must be under 60 years and be medically certified as an invalid by a medical board, that is, permanently unable to do any type of work due to illness," end quote. As such, the board ruled that Chow did not meet the requirements to receive an invalidity benefit. Chow appealed the decision to the appeals tribunal comprising an attorney and representatives for employers and employees. However, he was unsuccessful. To appeal that decision, Chow would have had to go to court. There is no indication he did so. The SSB concludes, quote, all insured persons are eligible to access a myriad of benefits from the Social Security Board, provided that the eligibility requirements and qualifying conditions are met. The Social Security Board does not discriminate, nor is it arbitrary. Rather, it is guided by the legislation to administrate the fund. The family of 48-year-old Louis Hochu Kamara and his 19-year-old son, John Hochu Kamara, is appealing to Belizean authorities to assist in securing their return. Johan's aunt, in a plea on Facebook, explained that he is a student at an educational institution in Quintana and was with his cousin on their way to meet his dad in the Santa Elena community Tuesday. His dad was supposed to give him money for fuel. In sharing an account of what transpired, the aunt said that on their way to his father, Johan and his cousin were intercepted by armed men in a vehicle. He came under fire but managed to reach the location where his father was, only to be grabbed by the men and pushed into their vehicle. The senior Kamara then tried to stop the abduction, and that is when he too was pushed into the vehicle and taken. Johan's cousin was left behind. The number of egg consumption per capita in Belize continues to rise. However, according to Belize Poultry Association manager Armando Cowo, there are not enough data available to say which location is consuming more eggs. Cowo also admitted that they are unaware if Belizeans are consuming more eggs or whether the increase is due to increasing consumption in the tourism industry.
For what we can account for, like 152 eggs per capita per person, that's statistical data that we have. But extrapolating that data, because we know there are other eggs out there that are not really produced by our farmers. We have a lot of people producing eggs, and we estimate that to be like 172 per capita consumption of eggs, which is good, but we still have a long way to go. There are some countries who are doing 300. Our neighbor Mexico is doing like 370. Colombia is at 345. Argentina 360. They're big producers and they're big consumers. We're self-sufficient in the production of eggs, so we would like to see more consumption in terms of more kids having access to it.
To the end of this morning's news brief, immediately following Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show on Creme Radio, there'll be mornings too from 9 to noon, and I'll get bits of news from that talk show. And then at 12:15 on Creme Radio will be a full news package. At 3:15 there'll be a news brief, and at 5:15 there'll be a full news package on Creme Radio. At 6 o'clock on XTV there'll be a full news package. You could download the XTV and the Creme Radio apps. You could tune in for our local channels, XTV and Creme Radio. Stay tuned, we'll be right back, and as soon as we come back, we have one international caller calling in. No, they are long, so no, I got time for calling and make way. Cascas.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show for this morning, Friday, October 11, 2024. It's paper day. The Mandela newspaper is out for $1.50. The headline reads, high-level U.S. diplomats 4-day official visit to Belize. And then it says, cultural activities held at UB in Belmopan for Indigenous Peoples Resistance Day. BTV continues fight against Guatemalan plundering. Hurricane Milton sends tornadoes through Florida, and DOE aims to phase out single-use plastic. So I'm going to get on a Mandela newspaper, and then you could also subscribe and get it online, okay, for the in the world. One of the community this morning, I look for moments. Today I feel good Friday now. At 7 o'clock, we're expecting an international call. Anyway, so since today I feel good Friday, I take pictures of some moments that don't make I feel good already. So usually when I work WB, and even when I work WB, Kim grab and go on Mahogany Street, the part I go for, feed my soul. Not only the coffee and the Johnny cake and the powder bun. Thanks, Kim. I get special treatment, really. This morning, I never gone, so I asked for delivery, right? So my good brother, Kello, bring it for me. So right when I got outside for go and get the tea, 3 brother they pass. And they were just, I always happy for say, black people together, just having one good time. And so they may look very happy. So I tell them, I could take on a picture. And then they say yes. So I tell them, oh, the guy who for last night one, I said, watch ya, I just beard, I live right from the lane. If you look to the back of that picture, you see Kello up on the back, they call me tea. Just sweets outside Belize City, beautiful moments. But then when I got, when I listen for radio, well, they miss out. Just black brothers, happy, going down the street and willing for to take them picture. And then I come in at the yard and I meet one another brother. He's a Mandela vendor. He's saying Anthony, and he sell the Mandela newspaper for about 25 years. Big respect. And all the other vendors, individuals, individual businesses will sell the newspaper. We really appreciate it. There was community effort that only the people could see, the people make zinc fence still live out. And so if you look to the back, I don't know how good I could see, right? But when I take the picture with the Mandela vendor, Anthony, brother Cliff Lewis, who is senior engineer at XTV, made the I don't know what you call that part of the, I don't know, that the print area, I don't know. Anyways, that the area will part and go fold the paper and pick up the paper. Brother Cliff made the email. He usually come in early in the morning. Usually Brother Cliff bring that Christy, Master MCO, the Zoom in a hand. Brother Cliff usually bring fruit to it. So he go in the market and he get banana and pineapple. He say banana and papaya. He said he had to haggle with the man for the papaya. Because the man tell her the papaya was something else, and so he had to coax her. So thanks, Brother Cliff. They're not all the time the people then behind the scenes where make uno could see and hear we get seen, heard, highlighted. I hear Brother Cliff shout out Raspita this morning. Big respect, Raspita. We don't forget you, brother. A lot of love. We miss you bad. Raspita worked with XTV for many years as our camera person. Vibrant, big mouth, loving, cook, brother. But due to medical illness, he hasn't been with us for a number of years. But trust me, Lakin, respect Ashley, taking good care of her dad, and all the community members will help with Raspita care. So the phone number 280-5848, 280-5848. In about 6 minutes, I'm expecting a call. Earpiece started to slip out. I'm expecting a call. I'll just take it out. I'm expecting a call from a Haitian activist. He is in the Bay Area of the United States. His name is Brother Pierre Labossiere, and he's a Haitian, and he's been an activist for many years. He's one of my mentors, and he's been a guest on Sunday Review a number of times. Sunday Review is the only news review talk show in Belize that I produce and host. And I saw the need for, well, since I get a break this morning from Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and I feel good Friday, I feel good when people organize in their best interest from within communities, or we that say from below. So most of we consume for we news, or at least that's my view, from what I call corporate media, Western media, colonized media. which tends to be very singular narrative. And we seldom get to hear the voices of people from within communities, homes, areas, regions, on how then they experience whatever the Western media they say. Because what the Western media say and what people actually experience are oftentimes two different realities. And so because I know Brother Pierre, the Haitian Action Network, you could go up on Facebook, Haitian Action Network, is a network of activists who've been supporting the independence of IT since 1991. And it's one of my sources for credible news of what's actually happening in IT. So a few weeks ago, I was a part of a Zoom call with someone who is on the ground working in IT. And the things that that person shared, which is one of the reasons why I want Brother Pierre come in, because I don't like paraphrase. Sometimes it's better for to hear it from somebody when they do the work longer, way longer than me, no different than me, speak Haitian Creole, and so very good at translating what people say, because you know things could be lost in translation. It's very different when you could speak the language I want people to hear what people say. Now the reason why I reached out in particular to Brother Pierre is because we know that there are two Belizean soldiers in that contingent of soldiers led by the Kenyan military, financed by the United States. And it's unfair, it's unethical. And UEF, United Black Association for Development Educational Foundation, has written to the state more than once to be very clear. The brothers and sisters in IT, most of them are our kinfolks, our African sisters and brothers. When our foreparents were kidnapped, human trafficked across the Atlantic Ocean, we were scattered. So people within the Caribbean region, and that's inclusive of Cuba, down in Brazil, wherever you see a large grouping of African people in the Americas, it's our kinfolks who were scattered. So then it's up we people. And remember now, I always say all my skinfolk aren't my kinfolk, because every group of people have people who are betrayed. And and UEF keeps saying to the state has no moral, legal, or ethical right to speak on behalf of African descendants racialized as black people in Belize. Those ethnic groups may identify as Creole or Garifuna. Why? Because it was the state, for example, in Belize, that was responsible for the enslavement of African people. So the same entity what enslaved we cannot now come and say that they want to talk for we, they have for we best interests at heart. Historically, that has never been the case. And that's why, and I just to take up some airspace, waiting for Brother Pierre to join us. He won't be with us for a long time. And that is why UEF keeps saying that when it comes to the CARICOM 10-point plan, Brother Pierre is with us. That's not an African reparation plan. CARICOM looks at primarily economic development. So they don't have, I don't care, like genuinely, I don't give them credit because that's another mandate. Brother Pierre.
Yes.
Come in, Brother Pierre.
How are you?
I was just told that he is with us via Zoom from the United States, and this would be Brother Pierre Labossiere. He is one of the co-founders of Haiti Action Committee. And so, so what I was saying earlier, as I'm waiting for him to join us via Zoom, is that the CARICOM 10, there you go, Brother Pierre. Good morning, Brother Pierre.
Good morning to you.
Let me put the earpiece in. Let me take it out earlier.
It's been a while.
How are you being? I'm not hearing, but
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so thankful that you were able to take some time out this morning to speak with us. I know you have to get going shortly. So can you just give us a quick, as I was saying to Belizeans, who are listening on the radio, television, streaming, online, the reason why it was important for you to be in this space is because most Belizeans consume their news, as you would be familiar, from a Western source. And they seldom get to hear what's actually happening on the ground in IT from credible people. So if you could give us a little background about IT, the only first independent black republic, 12 years, 4 months, 9 days, they fight, August 22nd, 1791, January 1st, 1804. Share with us, Brother Pierre.
Yes, thank you so much. So, to my sisters and brothers from Belize, and the brother audience that's listening to your show, thank you so much for having me. And just wanted to add to what you are saying. Yes, indeed, our people were actually kidnapped from Africa and brought to the land that we now call Haiti, which is the island that it shares with the Dominican Republic. Christopher Columbus invaded the island in 1492 and met with stiff resistance from the original indigenous population, the Arawaks and the Tainos. And they fought very hard. And when the first kidnapped Africans were brought in 1503, about 11 years later since his arrival, to work in digging in the gold mines. And so they rebelled, and they joined with the rebellious Tainos and Arawaks and fought successfully against the Spanish. Since then, it's been resistance to colonialism. Then the island was divided into two. One side was the French took it over, and that's the side that is present-day Haiti or Haiti. And the other side remained under Spanish rule, which is the Dominican Republic. This is like a brief summary I'm giving. But the French had it from 1697 until 1804, as you said. What brought the end of the French domination and the independence of Haiti was a massive uprising that took place where all the plantations rose up at once, and that was in August 1791. And they rose up at once and they fought against they burned the plantations down, and they constituted an army of the enslaved Africans, mobilized into an army led by Toussaint Louverture, later on by Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and I cannot forget the women like Sanit Belair and Mary Jane were commanders in that army. And they, after 30, you correctly pointed out, you gave the number of days and everything, which is beautiful. Haiti declared itself a free and independent country. The name Haiti is an original Arawak Taino name, which means land of mountains. But also, President Aristide, when doing his research, he saw that the name also in one of the African languages, it means do not obey, not to obey. So that also had a significance, major significance for the formerly enslaved Africans who rebelled. But I will close this chapter of the history, but I want to mention two things as part of it. Haiti declared itself in that constitution, the first constitution, to be a black nation. It stated that way back in 1804, 1805, that Haiti is a black nation. And Haiti called itself a sanctuary country, meaning a country of refuge. And Haiti called on all enslaved Africans, if they could make their way to Haiti, once they touch Haitian soil, they would become automatically Haitian citizens and free men and women, and Haiti to war to protect their freedom. And Haiti declared itself also a land of refuge to the indigenous populations who at that time were being chased out of their land by the Spanish conquistadors and the French and everyone else. So Haiti declared itself a place of refuge for the indigenous people. Now, you were talking about reparations. In Haiti, we have it's been a big question for us. And President Aristide when he became president of Haiti, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, the parish priest, a Roman Catholic priest, who the people drafted to run for the presidency twice, 1990 and again in 2000. The people drafted him. He wasn't the one who put himself up as a candidate. The people drafted him to run for office because they trusted him that he would implement an agenda for the people. So what he did was he demanded that the French pay restitution to Haiti. And the reason for the restitution is because in 1825, 1826, the French sent, with the support of the US, France, Canada, France, Britain, Spain, they forced the formerly enslaved Africans who had now gotten their freedom to pay reparations to the former slave owners. And that amount back in 2003 was about $22 billion. And President Aristide demanded that the French repay this money because the French were saying, the French government was admitting that slavery was a crime against humanity. And so President Aristide rightfully, with the support of the people, demanded that they return this money that they forced us to pay to the criminals who had enslaved us. So that's the first bill. Then there's a second bill, which is called reparations, because it's for the crime of slavery itself, the kidnapping of our foremothers and forefathers, and their beatings and the brutal treatment under slavery, under enslavement conditions. And this is one of the reasons why the French participated with the US and Canada in overthrowing President Aristide in 2004, February 29, 2004. And since that time, Haiti has been under occupation by the US. Really, it's a US occupation, but they use the United Nations troops to maintain that occupation. So since 2004 to the present, Haiti has been under occupation. They try to hide it. They try to come up with all kinds of subterfuge, all kinds of schemes, presenting it as if Haiti has a president or a prime minister. These are boot-licking Uncle Toms, that this is what they are. They are there to be a face of the occupation, and that occupation has done nothing but cause misery, hardship, massacres, gang rape of women, kidnappings of people, the so-called gang problem, which is not a gang problem. It's basically a problem of state-sponsored violence, state-supported violence against a population that continues to say no to these conditions. And that's what's going on in Haiti today.
Big thanks on that summary, Brother Pierre. If you can focus on what's happening on the ground in Haiti, in the Zoom conference we had a couple weeks ago, I don't have the numbers written down, but they mentioned the population of Haiti, the number of people who have had to flee in a short period of time, what the Western media categorizes as a gang problem is paramilitary death squads. That's what they are. And the majority of the weapons that are used to murder our Haitian sisters and brothers are coming from the United States. So can you speak to that, Brother Pierre?
Yes, that's correct. I mentioned the coup d'etat of 2004. And what has happened is, before that coup d'etat, Haiti was making tremendous progress after close to 30 years of the Duvalier dictatorship. And then we had some more years of military dictatorship. It was the military, the Duvalier military, that survived and that maintained the system of terror that François Duvalier, or Papa Doc, and his son, Baby Doc Duvalier, Jean-Claude Duvalier, had maintained in Haiti. And it's a terror because they were stealing the money of the tax money of the population instead of investing it to build schools, to build hospitals, to build, to provide clean sources of drinking water, to provide support for the agricultural community, for the peasant farmers to produce food. They were not investing the money instead taking it. In misery, people were having a hard time making a living. So that led to a wave of people fleeing Haiti, because even factory workers, when they were organizing for better wages, they were met by the violence of the Haitian military and the Tonton Makouts that arrested them and disappeared many of the labor leaders. So what you had was a situation where there was no voting, people couldn't vote. That was taken from the people. So basically, you're in a country that's heavily taxing with your money, your tax money, not going to benefit you or anyone, and you have no say about it. You cannot vote for your representative. And when you raise your voice to say no or to point out the wrongs in the society, then you were tagged as being against the government, and you were disappeared, jailed, and no one, any Tonton Macoute in Haiti in those days, in the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, had the power of life and death over the population, over anyone, from child to the elderly. No one was spared. And so the reason I went into this is to describe what is going on today, which is very similar to what was going on when I was growing up in Haiti as a child back in the 60s, and which continued through the 80s. Now, what it is that the Haitian people mobilized and finally overthrew the Duvalier regime in 1986. And after much continued struggle, they against the military dictatorships that succeeded it, then for the first time, we had a chance to draft Jean-Bertrand Aristide, the local priest, and make him president of Haiti. And right away, he got into office, started tackling corruption, started using the money, the tax money, to build schools, to build hospitals, and the U.S. did a coup d'etat against him 7 months after being in office. We are talking 1991. That coup d'etat killed over 5,000 people and lasted for 3 years. But then successfully, with the help of international solidarity, the people of Haiti were able to bring President Aristide back to finish about a year left in his term. But still, he was able to preside over free and fair democratic elections. So now then there was another president, and then in 2000, people drafted him again. This time he spent 3 years in a 5-year term, but again implementing a people's agenda. Schools were built, many schools were built during that period, that 3-year period. Many schools were built with the people's money, with the money, the taxes, and that the people were paying. Schools, hospitals, clinics, and the schools, many more schools were built during that time than had ever been built in the first 190 years of Haiti's history. And the schools were built not in the cities, but some were built in the cities, but most of them were built in the rural areas where the majority population lived, and where before they were neglected and never having schools, no access to drinking water or any of that. But President Aristide, with their tax money, the tax money was being invested in the population, in the people. That was consistent with the program of the Famille Lavalas political organization. This was the political party. This is the political party of President Aristide. They investing in people. That means to build schools, build hospitals, clean sources of drinking water, provide the peasant farmers with credit, with tools, land distribution. A lot of the land was being distributed so that the peasant families could have their own lands. Housing was being built in the cities for the impoverished population so that they could have good housing. I'm talking about indoor plumbing. Very comfortable homes were being built for many in the population. So we were progressing, and Haitians were beginning to return to Haiti. Brothers and sisters who had been refugees before, had fled to other lands, were now coming back to Haiti to invest. 3 years later, another coup d'etat. Now, I mentioned those coup d'etats, but there is a culprit, and the culprit is the United States of America, aided and supported by France, Canada, many countries of the European Union, they were all part of it. And they staged this coup d'etat, which killed over 10,000 people and led to massive numbers of Haitians fleeing Haiti to go to various islands in the Caribbean, also to the US, to France, wherever they could find some refuge. So when you see a Haitian coming to Belize or going to Guyana or Jamaica, and I want to salute all of you from Guyana, Belize, Jamaica, where people are standing up in solidarity with the people of Haiti. I want to thank you very much. In the Dominican Republic, where many Dominicans are standing with the people of Haiti, in the Bahamas, contrary to the actions of their governments, which is persecuting Haitians, which is trying to please the U.S. in persecuting their brothers and sisters. Many of them do not remember that Haiti was the freedom country, was the refuge for many of our ancestors, for many of their ancestors, which are who are my ancestors as well. When Haiti was free and Haiti welcomed everyone, the sea between Jamaica and Haiti, the passage was known as Freedom Passage, because anyone who crossed it, once you reach Haitian waters, you are welcome and fed by the people, and you became a citizen. Simon Bolivar, who's always mentioned and lauded all over South America for having fought against Spanish colonialism, well, he received refuge in Haiti. And not only that, he received money, weapons, ammunition, a printing press, and ships so that he could go back to Gran Colombia at the time. That's what it was called. And many Haitian volunteers went with him to successfully defeat Spanish colonialism and abolish slavery in South America. And so Haiti has been, and this is the situation, what we are living today, we've seen a return of these, what you call the tonton macoutes, or the so-called gang violence, which is nothing but state violence. It is the weapons are coming from the U.S., being provided to them, and this is according to United Nations reports. These are weapons that are put in the hands of young men, many of them very impoverished, who are receiving those weapons, drugs, and being set loose against their own people. So it's a minority, but it's a well-armed minority. Many of them have been completely mentally deranged and are conducting massacres. The most recent one happened in the town of Ponsonde. It's a big rural market area where many of the peasants come to share, to sell their products, and where you can get a bargain and what have you. It is a place that is so vital to the rural economy, to Haiti's food production, where food that's produced is shared, people participate in commerce and trade. It's very well known for that. Well, they attacked this population. That was last Thursday, killing over 100 people. They're still trying to figure out how many people have been killed. But the reason we say that it's a state-sponsored violence, not only are these weapons coming in from the U.S., and the U.S. government knows that, and they can track down who is buying those weapons, bringing them to Haiti. You have a little elite in Haiti, very rich, that the U.S. itself has named in many reports as being responsible for bringing weapons into Haiti, financing the gangs, being involved in corruption. You see, the more that there is chaos in Haiti, the less the less stability there is, the more people can go to try to get lands from people. They want them out of their homes, burn down their homes, to get their lands, to take over their lands. Many of the lands sit on natural mineral deposits, deposits of gold, deposits of copper, cobalt, oil, also natural gas, uranium, and iridium. All that is present in Haiti, bauxite. So the running people out, grabbing their lands, because under the land is very valuable. In the Artibonite region, where this massacre took place, this is one of the most fertile lands in Haiti agriculturally. And some of the big, rich landowners in Haiti, or people who want more land, they are trying to get the people out of this area so they can grab their lands. So, and we see the puppet government in Haiti has not really done anything at all to prevent, not only to prevent, but to combat this violence, this war against the people. So they talk a lot about bringing in Kenyan troops, bringing in other foreign troops. But those foreign troops that are there in Haiti are not doing anything at all. People are calling them tourists. All they are doing is eating and having their money given to them. That's very similar to the group they had brought before, that was there right after the coup d'etat against President Aristide. They were there to make sure that they supported the coup d'etat, because at that time too, right after that, we saw so-called gangs being weaponized, being armed, provided with machetes. One of them, their name was the Little Machete Army. And what they would do is they were provided machetes by the Haitian police and other guns, where they would attack women vendors who are the backbone of the Haitian economy, of the peasant economy. And so they were attacking them, killing them, gang rape and all of that. And you had the United Nations soldiers there not arresting them, not attacking them, not protecting the population. And they were frequently denounced by the people. The United Nations themselves conducted massacres in Haiti. We have a number of videos of these massacres, of the victims. Why? Because people were saying, no, we know why you are here. You are here to prevent us from voting. You are here to remove all of the gains, all of the programs that the Famille Lavalas political organization, when they were in power, had put in for the people. You are there to remove all of that, to prevent us from having access to free education, from having access to transportation for children to go to school. You are there to block the literacy programs that were implemented when they were being destroyed after the coup d'etat. The people were taken to the streets in protest. And so those gangs and those UN troops were there to attack the people, attack the protests, and shoot people down. That's what they were there for. And today, that's what these so-called gangs or paramilitary death squads, that's what they are there to do, to continue these kinds of attacks against the population, to terrorize people and force them to accept a situation that is totally, totally unacceptable, where people cannot make a living in Haiti.
Before you go, Brother Pierre, if you can quickly address two things. Barbecue has been getting a lot of airtime. So if you could share who Barbecue is, and also that the Haitian people have never stopped resisting, and they're still resisting the wrong being done to them.
Indeed. Well, this guy, Barbecue is his nickname. His name is Jimmy Cherizier. And from the information I have, and I may not have the full information, but he was a policeman who joined after the coup d'etat against President Aristide, joined the police force. He was trained by the United Nations forces in a special elite unit of the police, militarized police. And so, and the nickname Barbecue, he got it according to various sources, credible sources. He got it from his practice of burning people alive. As a policeman, when they would do these executions, arbitrary killings, they would set the body on fire. And so that's how he got his nickname. I know that some of his cronies outside of Haiti, people who pretend to be left or what have you, are saying, well, he got it when he was a child. There is no way for this man, because barbecue, Haitians speak Creole. Barbecue was not a term that people used in Haiti. We have our own terms for when you do barbecue meat. It's called fritaille, that's fried meat, or you call it boucané. Boucané is the real, actually roasting over the fire, barbecue. But barbecue is it's an English term that we do not use. And it was less, if it started getting used in Haiti, it was probably after the earthquake, with so many NGOs coming to Haiti and what have you. but it was not in use. So there is no way he could have gotten that nickname, as they tried to say, when he was a child. I'm from Haiti. I speak Creole. I go there all the time. So I know when the term was beginning to get used somewhat, but not when he was a child, because there is no way that that term could have been used. It wasn't in use at all. So kids on the block would have never called him that. No, I don't believe it. That's not true. No Haitian believes it. So in any case, he first came to everybody's attention back in 2017, when there was a spectacular massacre that they committed at a church school, where 11 people were killed. And he was one of the perpetrators. It was a massacre that involved the police, and he was one of the perpetrators. And that's how his nickname. And they killed the cook, teachers, the person who was the caretaker of the school, were among the 11 people who were killed, and that was in November 2017. During that time, there was a lot of attention on him, and supposedly the police were going to take action, but it was never clear if they did or didn't do it. But in any case, he maintained a relationship as an active duty police officer, with his status being quite undetermined. 1 year later, November 2018, he participated in a big massacre called the La Saline Massacre. And people can read about it in the report that we produced, the Haiti Action Committee, along with the National Lawyers Guild, the San Francisco chapter. We sent investigators there to take testimony from the people, meet with the people. People can also see Margaret Prescott. She talks about, there is a video that she has done as a journalist, as a reporter, and Margaret Prescott is with the Global Women's Strike, and she did a beautiful presentation about the La Saline Massacre, beautiful in terms of in-depth presentation of it with context and all of that, and it's on YouTube. It's titled the La Saline Massacre. You can do a YouTube search under her name, Margaret Prescott, then you should be able to see it. So he was, by his own account, he was there. He participated in that massacre. Also, the victims identified him as well as being there, the survivors of that massacre. Since then, he has organized, he officially named a gang from the G9 gang. And the G9 is a coalition of 9 gangs on Port-au-Prince. I use the term gangs because this is what's in the media, but actually I prefer what you said earlier, paramilitary death squads. So he organized them as the G9. But it was very obvious that he was receiving support, as he claimed. He claimed that he was receiving support from the Haitian government. And there was a Haitian government official who admitted that the government actually helped Barbecue, who supposedly there was a warrant for his arrest, but the government was helping him put together this coalition of paramilitary death squads called the G9 Federation. And we have another piece of evidence regarding international complicity. The representative of the UN in Haiti at the time, Helen Lalim, who represented the core group. The core group is a group of 9 entities that carry out the day-to-day decision-making in regards to Haiti and give orders to the Haitian authorities, to the president on down. And so Helen Lalim, in October 2020, in her report to the United Nations, she stated that the G9, she praised them and stated that they are, and I'm paraphrasing her, that they are doing a beautiful job because in areas that they control. Can you imagine this? Now, this is a gang, okay, a federation of gangs, which the UN before in 2018, 2019 had made Barbecue, named him as one of the responsible parties for the La Saline massacre. Now we are talking 2019. So that 1 year later, for this woman, this diplomat, this representative of the UN, raising this murderous gang, and they had been committing other atrocities during that time, since that time, and during that time. For her, at the time when she made that statement in October, they were engaged in assassinating and attacking the community of Bel Air, where they had burned down a number of houses and killed a number of people. Within days, and I mean days, literally a few days, here she's at the UN praising them and saying that in places where they control, they have brought down the homicide rate to a low level. They have reduced the homicide rate when they were killing people at the time that she's making those statements. So fast forwarding, the massacres have continued attacks against the communities, various communities throughout Haiti. Right now, G9 has expanded and has become known as the Vivre Ensemble, which is a bigger coalition of more what the press call gangs, which we call paramilitary death squads, because that's more accurate. The term gang is being put out there because it's to confuse people worldwide. It's because people assume that, well, these are outlaws and they are, most governments are opposed, trying to control gangs and what have you. These are outlaws. But in Haiti, it's thrown in there to confuse people. These are no different than the militia that Duvalier had organized called the Tonton Macoutes. This is what it is. It's a resurgence of that system, of that militia system. And just as during the days of Duvalier, the US had provided weapons and training for during the formation and the existence of the Tonton Macoutes. This is exactly what we are seeing today. They are receiving training. They are, according to them, the weapons, according to those death squads, they brag about the weapons they are receiving. They show them off as being fresh from the factories or with their brand new, with their wrappings and everything. And we are talking weapons of war here. We're not talking about some handgun that somebody can, a Saturday night special or something that anybody can get on the street. We are talking about very expensive weapons that they are getting with ammunition galore. I mean, and they brag about it, they show it, and many of them have also said that this weapon was given to me by former President Martelly, or this gun was given to me by former President Jovenel Moïse. And so Barbecue himself has bragged about how Jovenel Moïse was one of his benefactors, and he cried when he was assassinated. And later, just recently, last week, or about 10 days ago, Barbecue put out a video where he bragged about him being received. Can you please pay attention to this? Him having had a meeting at the U.S. Embassy, where a U.S. Embassy car came to get him and then bring him to the embassy. He didn't say what they discussed, but he said they had discussion, and then they brought him back. Now, this is a man with multiple warrants for his arrest, not only by Haiti, by Haitian judges, but also internationally, by the UN. Also, a Haitian judge recently, about a month, maybe 2 months ago, issued another warrant for his arrest for the massacre of La Saline, along with 50 other people. Then here he is, in his own words, in his own voice, giving a report to some of his cronies, to some of his supporters in the U.S., that he was in a U.S. embassy, he was in a meeting at the U.S. embassy, and he got in there. He described how he got in there in a U.S. embassy car, and then they brought him back after the meeting. So that's what we are talking about. This is a plot against Haiti. This is a plot to destroy Haiti. These are not gangs as we know them, as most people would think of. These are actual criminals hired, weaponized, given weapons, given the power of life and death, who are gang raping people, who are taking over lands, and in one of the videos, as they were destroying some of the houses of the people, they were saying, Blanc dit, mettez du feu. That means the white man says, set fire to the houses. That's what, and two videos at least have come to my attention with that kind of statement from the mouths of the people as they were, of these of these death squads, as they were setting the people's homes on fire. So that's the situation, and to me, it reveals, and to most Haitians, to all Haitians, I would say, even those who pretend not to be a part of it, or pretend not to, but Haitians, they circulate videos among each other. We see what's going on, and people are very, I would say, close to 100% of the audience of Haitians believe that this is all orchestrated outside of Haiti to destroy the Haitian state, and it's being done by foreign powers to destroy Haiti and recolonize Haiti.
Thanks, Brother Pierre. Past break time. It's past your time to go. We really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. Once I host WUB again, I'll make every effort for you to continue to speak to this particular audience. We send solidarity, we send positive vibrations, and we encourage our Haitian African sisters and brothers to resist, because only the people want to save the people.
You.
Thanks, Brother Pierre. We now go to
Thank you, and let me just
yes, Brother Pierre.
Let me just leave the HaitiSolidarity.net is our website, www.HaitiSolidarity.net, Haiti Action Committee. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brother Pierre. Our sponsor is Fort Point Security, and it's now 2 cents scam time. Stay tuned.
I know they hear you.
Anyways, Brother Wilmer here. I'm still hearing the theme song. Brother Wilmer here is on a Zoom call. Thank you. He linked me and said, I watch it, I want to come in, I want to respond back to Asad Schumann comments on Uncut on Channel 7. Me no know him in the hand. Me don't know what he say. And one thing about, if I could get people to Zoom call in, then I could shut up and learn. I open to it. Brother Will, from Sweet Penny. Tell me what happened. How the morning? Tell Ella say morning when I don't drink the coffee.
Yeah. Yes, sir. The morning nice and cool right now.
Yes, for the Marin, not to show yourself.
But like, yeah, you know, yeah, watch that. Like, I just like was really insulted when Jules had Asad Schumann on. Now remember, now this is the same guy who went across this country from Rio Hondo to Sarstoon in all the back villages and everything because it was so important to him to have Belize go to the ICJ, right? And during all of his stops, most of the stops that I was in there, he was like, look, once we get this thing to the ICJ, Guatemala cannot do you anything when you're on the river or in the borderline area, what they place when they call the adjacent zone or anything, that will stop completely, right? He went around. I mean, people supposed to have respect for this man, right? Then, no, he had come back to Belize, and when Jules asked the man, so what are your reaction or comment on this issue with the territorial volunteers get assaulted on the Sarstoon? Like, this man basically just sweep it under the rug, like, basically, like, he take it almost like what joke, yeah. You know, he asked Jules, what size the boat there, the territorial volunteers are made upon? And what size the Guatemalan boat? Like, that for sure, the level of his interest. But the way he said it was like so demeaning, you know, like, who they? Like, you know, then I must not even human beings, because whether with a Belizeans or not, right? Between all of us are Belizeans, he just dismissed it, right? This man, the same man who come to us and come to the world and say, look, the Israelites then totally wrong, the Israelis is totally wrong for the bomb out the Palestinians then. He want make we jump on a bandwagon, which in, you know, I totally agree with that, but he totally had no regard for Belizeans getting assaulted on the Sarstoon. He did not even accept the fact that Guatemalans had invaded Belize space. Now, this is the man we gone around the country. They tell us once we get the court, the thing with a court, none of this will happen. But I mean, like, how different it is, like, from the same case that he is, like, championing around the world, where the Israel-Palestinian situation, it's wrong what Israel is doing, and he go about saying what wrong, it's wrong what Israel is doing, but he refused to say it's wrong what the Guatemalans are doing. We are his people. Is that man really Belizean or what, man? You know,
No.
you check this thing, you check what he said and the way he said it and how he dismissed it. You know, like, we are like, oh, no, nobody. And, oh, you know, the next thing he tells Jews, like, basically, if the Guatemalans don't want to ram them or really do something, the Guatemalans could have done something. You know, and, like, I mean, it was just like so insulting to me as a Belizeans, and I'm sure all the other Belizeans. He did not accept the fact. I mean, like, he just brushed it off. Like, okay, there were innocent Belizeans on the boat. None of us was armed. He did not recognize, like when I think Jude Salam, but the Guatemalans, they were armed. They rammed the boat, and like he just like dismissed that, like, oh, really? They rammed the boat? Well, if they really want to ram the boat or really want to kill them, the Guatemalans could have do that, you know? I mean,
there's this saying, when people
like,
show
you know, I
you
mean,
who they are the first time, believe them. And I hear you. I didn't hear the uncut, but I hear you're hurt as a Belizean. And Belizeans ought to feel hurt. And Belizeans ought to pay attention to these high-level leaders. And he not do this as an individual. He represents the government of Belize. And the state should be held accountable. Now, there has been a disproportionate, I not to say what happened in Palestine, no wrong. It wrong. But I take it personal that the
Exactly.
media's flooded with what happened to Palestine, but enough flood but what happened to Haiti, enough flood but what happened to the continent of Africa. So you still see the disproportionate reporting based on who the people are who are dying, bleeding, suffering. Nobody, and I stand 10 toes deep, nobody not bleed, suffer more than African descendants racialized as black people. Nobody. But enough of we story take front and center. And so when Will they make the point about what happened in that when the Bleed Territorial Volunteers gone down south the Sarstoon as they had a right to in September, majority of those people on that boat were people of color. And if you come from Belize and be indigenous or African descendants. You see, we no matter. Hinga Palestinian heritage. That trump the Belizean. That's how I read that. And I rate people like that. Straight.
That's exactly. I mean, like, you know, I mean, how different is it? Yes, the Guatemalans, they never kill we, but they disrespect we. Just like how Israel disrespect Palestine, according to him, or the world could see what's happening. You know, I'm not so familiar with the situation, so I really can't talk about it. But the fact that he claimed to be a Belizean and, like, you know, did not even say, well, you know what, the Guatemalans, they may wrong, you know. They came into Belize territory. He saw the footage, like he not even want to look on the footage because Jules will be-roll the footage while he was speaking. And I mean, I encourage Belizeans to go and see that, and you'll see how disrespectful these guys are. They call you in at one time, high paid and everything, and they talk about let's go to ICJ. Then you know what I mean, like the other thing they come with now. So when all this case was heard within 5 years and everything gonna settle and blah blah blah, and now when they asking, so when they go on with the Belize ICJ thing, oh well, you know a lot of things happening in the world, so that take back burner. So we just they in limbo forever. They wait for a court case. You know that's exactly what he said. He said, oh well, he really don't know when this thing will take place, but because you know they have a lot of things happening in the world where the ICJ have to pay attention to. Well, look at the Belize Guatemala dispute was one of those things that was happening long time ago, 5 years now, or more than 5 years now. And when 5 years now since they convinced the Belize, they can't know me. They convinced the Belizean people to go to court, and now they cannot even tell the Belizean people when this court will be held, when they are here this case. No, to them, that's not important. They don't get big pay and everything, and, you know, then they both they place the champion on another cause.
Well,
but
ask you
as
this.
a Belizean, I tell you, that's a serious thing to go on.
Make I ask you this, because it's another thing we don't like about we. If you'd have booked Asad Schumann again, what would be your response to her after what happened pound cut?
Exactly what I tell you right now. I tell him how disappointed, and I know the man, I know her personally, right? And I'll tell her how disappointed I am in his response and how every time we go to, you don't even hear from them, man. The assault, the Guatemalans, the assault, you know, come into our territory. We never gone into their territory. They were inside Belize's territory and assaulted us. And a week later, they came as far as Barranco with their gunboat. This man even comment on things like that. Like, okay, you know what? I don't mostly do my thing, but ICJ must get my money and whatever. And next topic for me.
Yes,
but
Will,
like exactly
that
like you say,
difference
he's right here now, and they make the media blitz. They talk about, you know, the situation with Palestine and Israel, and never once will he say, well, you know what, the Guatemalans were wrong. The Guatemalans invaded Belizean space. They disrespect Belize. He basically like brushed that off, like, hey man, you know what? That like if the Guatemalans don't want to do them anything, they may do it. So
well,
like left that alone.
That one the difference between me and you. Our bunch of Belizeans. I never feel the brother vibes day one, real talk. I just recently buy the 13 chapters book, and I tell you, I rate the book. I really rate the book. But I don't feel the man vibration. After you tell me what you tell me, and I go on so with most politicians, and they draw a breath. I know how they raise it up about breath that for God. I choose so I move on this earth. And I enjoy a breath. I cross the street. You have to show people, you have to teach people how to treat you. How we allow them, brother, for even coming up with we face. Time and time again, ancestors, they betray we like that. And they grin up and they smack. No. Rinse them. When I say rinse, I mean like not talk to them, not get them no vibration. Make them feel for we wrath. How much time we ain't got people to betray we, How much time? And we say they grin up and talk and want to be diplomatic. Then people don't show we who they consistently we are not for their interests. That's why it's only the people who want to save the people.
Well, it was clear.
The Palestinian people look after for their interests. So when I say I want to hear about African people like Haiti and Congo, that are black people who look after black people interests and who begs. How the hell we want our solidarity with other people and we not look after for we own interests? If we not look after it, who want to look after it for we? A break time, I will. So hurry up and give me your last 2 cents, make we go.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anyhow, I encourage people to go and check it out and you see how disrespectful and how nonchalant them people are about us as Belizeans. You wouldn't believe like the man our Belizean, the way he respond to Jews for that, never ever accept the fact and condemn the fact that Guatemalan came into Belizean land with all them big machine guns. Never ever, even though they point it out to her, like, look, they were in Guatemala.
Well, what are the difference between the he response and the government of Belize response? What are the difference?
Well, basically none. Because same thing, like Francis Fonseca. I mean, nothing. He not even bring it up. I mean, they have another heads of state meeting that CARICOM, like I tell you a few days ago in Samoa or one of the Pacific Islands. And we are say you have the whole CARICOM, the whole Commonwealth heads of states to bring it up, and we are safe here do it. Like, they like to me, all they talk about, like Francis Fonseca, all they talk about, trade with Guatemala. Guatemala, they knock we up in our head all day and we still go and trade it, eh?
So my point is,
how they kind of love
the state they go on so well.
This place, man.
If the state they go on so.
They not even want tell them stop knocking your head.
Big respect to Belize Territorial Volunteers.
Yeah,
They always look for more volunteers, then they look for funding, then they look for in-kind donations. Tell me before you go, Will, how people could link BTV.
Yeah, upon the BTV Facebook page, we have a Facebook page, BTV, and also my WhatsApp, my Facebook to 610-0978.
Big
and
respect.
We are going to be out on the waters this weekend, just so the commandant of the BDF know that we will be out on the waters again in the next couple of days.
Big respect, Will. Only the people want to save the people. Solidarity forever. Break time.
Take a deep breath. You feel that energy?
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show for this morning, Friday, October 11th, 2024. I got to calm myself down because I get heated up just now with talking with Will. I could still hear the theme song playing. And so the phone number is 280, thanks, 5848, 280-5848. I know somebody made a calling when Brother Pierre Labosser of Haiti Action Committee was on the air. Good morning, caller. Thanks for your patience. Talk to it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm hoping you entertain a different point of view, albeit respectful. What would you have the government or the people of Belize do in this situation? What can we do? We're trying to approach it in a diplomatic fashion, talking every time something happens, a letter is sent, even when it's only from the say-so of people. What aggression is there? What is hurt? Where are we being hurt? In particular, if the boat and the Guatemala come over the water, really, are we going to live as neighbors or are we going to be hostile? And what do we have to fight with? Do we have our children prepared? Do we have weapons stockpiled? Do we have something that we can say when we jump in and in people's face, we could deal with what we do because after we right, so we don't care, we right. You can be dead right. It has been said a long time, we need to go forward diplomatically, sensibly, and with a neighborly spirit, man. The training that we do benefits us more than it benefits them. Am I on the air?
You're on the air.
All right, so I'm saying we need to be careful how we approach this. We don't want to give in nothing, but then we cannot stand and fight against these people in that fashion. We can't go to the border and drop the pants and peel the butter out of it. That's basically the best we can do right now. I saw the video, and everybody saw that video. There was no ramming of that boat. The boats came together, and we saw the soldiers on the Guatemalan boat even extend their arms to try and prevent a violent crash. There was no ramming. They came together, and yes, the man had words, but what are we to do? Exactly, and that I'll wait for the answer, because I'd like to know what else we can do is besides try to be civil and have a conversation about this going forward.
Thanks for your call.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yes, so I had to calm down again for a conversation with Will, and people have one choice for call 280-5848 and share your position. And then I choose if I want to respond or not, and I choose not to respond to the last caller's comment. Thank you for calling WB. Go ahead and talk to it.
Good morning, YaYa. This is Sandra Coy.
Good morning, Sister Sandra. How are you being this morning?
I'm fine. I'm not on the happy wagon I was last week.
You're not Feel Good Friday. Tell me, talk to me.
Yeah. Anyway, there is a report on Love FM of a survey/poll, or vice versa, whichever way they want to put it, that was carried out by Mr. Ashcroft. It was commissioned by Mr. Ashcroft and carried out by an entity whose first name is Viking. Mm-hmm. I didn't catch all the rest of it. At least I don't remember what I heard. Mm-hmm. And this poll was carried out, they said it was done with 968 people. That is the number I heard. So that was the sample. I don't know who makes up that sample, whether it was just a random sample or a structured sample. We don't know. They never said anything about the sample. They never said, they didn't even give the name sample. They said 968 people were surveyed. And then the pollster goes on to tell us, comment on how in the survey, I assume, viewed Mr. Barrow as leader of the opposition and Mr. Briceño. And made a comparison with the people's reception of Mr. Barrett to a date. When you go on a date with somebody the first time and then you figure out, well, the date can't work, so, like, you know, drop that. There will be a second date. And then he goes on to say, and I'm not necessarily, I'm leaving out segments, I'm looking at the high points. He goes on to say that, that they were asked a question about what difference do they see between now and before. But I am paraphrasing him, and then he explained by that he means the previous ruling party and the current ruling party. And the responses, according to him, said that everybody felt that the ruling party was doing well on health, education, and foreign affairs. But he didn't explain exactly what questions were asked and the criteria on which the persons were to make their evaluation. So let's take education, YaYa. Well, what questions did he ask? What questions were asked? Because education is the transfer of the totality of cultural/civilizational knowledge from one generation to another. And it happens in phases, and it involves different subsets of teachers. So your first set of teachers are your family. Mother, father, and if there are siblings, they join in. If there are no siblings, it starts with mother and father. And then from there, the child reaches an age where the law requires the child goes to school, and there another set of information is transferred to the child, this time by people specialized in that information, supposedly specialized in that information, and in its transferal process. And so on through the education system. But in between there, you're learning from all other sectors of society. You're learning from your neighbors how to be polite. Good morning, Miss Janie. How are you today? And she tells you you're fine, and she asks you, and you say, I'm fine. And how's your mom? She's fine too. See you, Miss Jane. Bye-bye. And you go away. That is part of the information transfer to a child. And then you hear it on the radio, you hear it on the TV, and all of that. But one of the most inefficient is the school system, is the formal, structured system that we call the education system. All of it is education, you know. All of it is education. But the name we give to that is a school, primary, kindergarten, primary, secondary, university, and so on. Most inefficient. So in a recent discussion in the international arena, it was pointed out that often the curriculum to be learned, let's say in the secondary system, a child only ends up being exposed to about 60% and doesn't learn that 60%. So that's out of 100%, you know. The child gets exposed only to about 60%, and I can vouch for that right here in Belize. Recently, I was dealing with an educational situation where they didn't know decimals. They did not understand decimals as a percentage. They did not understand percentage itself. They did not understand vulgar fractions. And you're talking about brilliant mind. Didn't know that. Nobody had shown them, really made sure they knew that information, understood its relationship one to the other, and could apply. Couldn't do it, couldn't calculate it, don't know the word period. Then was calling a period at the end of a sentence a decimal. they were calling, and remember along the way that, oh, we heard the word full stop. So one of them will say full stop. Man, YaYa, that to the listener, that may sound like minority matters. That's not minority matters at all. So my question is then, what was asked in the survey? For people to evaluate the education delivery taking place in the last 4 years. But because he said, not me, he said that they were asked to give their opinion on what had happened prior to 2020 and what has happened since. He said the previous government and the current one, so I assume that it's pre-2020, November or whenever they went to election, and since, and before it and since. So on what grounds did all these respondents arrive at the conclusion on our behalf, because now it's being...
Sister Sandra? I think... Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Yes, you...
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's been happening quite a lot recently.
Okay.
With, I'm not sure anyway. So now, these respondents who are supposed to represent all of us, where did they, what were the parameters they had to evaluate? They were given to evaluate the education system, or were they only asked a question? How you feel about it? Because remember now, that's the next point I'm coming to. You feel, you believe, you think, and you know. And we love to feel and believe. We don't much deal in thinking and knowing. So, which word was used? What's the terminology? Okay, so that's education. Let's look at health. Well, you only have to go to the papers and listen to the media to listen to all the upset in the general populace about health delivery at varying points in time, right? One person, she got operated on, she had a cesarean, and they punctured her intestine and she died. Another one had a similar, all kinds of stories out there. They don't seem to make the media, all of them. They arise when somebody gets into the media, then they can identify with what has happened to the person appearing in the media because of what has happened to them or family or somebody they know, and then you get all these horror stories. You see? But now let's come to foreign affairs. So according to this poll survey, the government is doing magnificently in foreign affairs. What were the parameters? You were just discussing one of them.
Sister Sandra,
I mean,
Sister Sandra,
lacking.
1 second, sis. I'm just letting you know that I found the news story, and we're scrolling it slowly so Belizeans can see what it is that you're saying. Go ahead.
You mean the poll survey?
Yes, I found it earlier on.
It is worth studying because, you know, let's take the Guatemala matter. You know, I start where Madiba begins. His position was, that is Nelson Mandela. His position was, when Palestine is free, we will all be free. You know why? Because that was the beginning of the new colonization phase. At the same time that they were creating the decolonization committee, supposedly to free all of us, they were busy creating a new colonization methodology. Where this wasn't the Americas that they arrived in that had vast stretches of land, and so people could run and hide in forest. There's no forest to hide in Gaza, right? No forest. So you lock them in, and then you slaughter them. You would like them to slaughter themselves, but they can't do that. So you create a situation where they are dropping down dead, one after the other babies. As we speak, they have advised that I think it's 80 babies. I may have the number wrong, of babies in the neonatal intensive care unit will die because they have been told to evacuate the hospital. So when you study that, YaYa, you understand what will happen with Belize and Guatemala and what is happening with Haiti. You use the other person's experience to understand what can happen to you and what is happening with another set of brothers and sisters. So then, how we have a good foreign policy, Clay, tell me? When you didn't go to the United Nations in a venue where everybody else used the opportunity to present the problems confronting them with their fellow members, we didn't. We had a responsibility too. But you know why we didn't, YaYa? Because we have an identity problem. We have a severe identity problem. We need to be legitimized by somebody lighter skinned than us. And if he can't be white, blue-eyed, Aryan, Caucasian, then let him be pale hazel-eyed, dark brown-eyed, yellow-white skin, Arab or Armenian. This is our problem. Our problem is we are unable to understand that humanity's capacity for evil is in all humans, every last one of us. And therefore, when you are going to evaluate a human's capacity and intentions towards you, you must be able to evaluate them objectively if you are to survive. If you don't evaluate them objectively, then you are writing the recipe for your disaster and destruction. Mr. Golson's position was, you save your country before you lose it. You save your life, you make the move to save your life before you lose it. You move to save your nation, your people's lives before the thing gets out of control, and then you can't do anything because all hell has broken loose.
Sister Sandra, I need to go to a break, but finish your thought, then we're going.
That is the problem there that I have with that survey poll. What were the parameters used for them to evaluate the government's performance in foreign affairs, pray tell me? All you did was ask them, are they doing better than the crowd before? That's hardly a scientific evaluation, don't you agree, YaYa? I
agree, Sister Sandra, and we value making these connections because many of us don't.
So this is the problem. Asad Schumann is a brilliant mind. Don't fool yourself. But, in my opinion, he has an identity problem. And that's the tragedy of the Palestinian problem. All the Arab world are praying and hoping to God that they are not going to be viewed as the Palestinians. Well, I have news for them. No less than the president of Turkey got up in the Turkish parliament and advised his nation that after Lebanon and Iran, it will be Turkey. You hear? So, if you are wise and sensible, I tried to hear Mr. Schumann the other morning when he spoke on Channel 10, but it wasn't possible. And apparently Eamon Courtney was to be there with him, but my friend who saw a piece of it said he did not see Mr. Courtney, so I don't really know. But he went there to speak on the Palestinian matter. And I wondered if the Guatemalan matter would come up, but I don't know. I don't know if it came up or not, or what all transpired in that discussion.
I'll have to go to break, Sister Sandra.
Yes?
But
just
I appreciate
keep it all
you.
in mind. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Break time.
I begin with a single drop.
the phone to ring. Tomorrow is Indigenous Resistance Day, the public and bank holiday, and be Monday the 14th October. Morning, talk to me.
Back again.
Yes, sis. Go ahead.
Back again, yes. I want to make two parallels. In 1982, on September the 16th, from September the 16th to September the 18th, thousands of Palestinian refugees were slaughtered in two refugee camps, Sabra and Shatila in Lebanon. The slaughter was carried out by Christian phalangists, Lebanese, but Christian Lebanese. The lighting to guide their actions through that first night and at nighttime was provided by the Israeli. They lit the flares. They provided suspended flare lighting. At the end, people were chopped, shot, raped. They lined up all boys above 15 years against a wall and shot them dead. That was total terrorizing. And they did it, YaYa, after the PLO had agreed to withdraw in order to save their people, just as Jacobo Arbenz did in Guatemala. When he decided to step down, it was to stop any slaughter of the Guatemalan people. But that was a futile gesture, just as in the Lebanon. In the Lebanon, the PLO withdrew on the agreement that UN peacekeeping would come in and the US. So the peacekeeping, UN, and the US were there. At the end of August, the UN withdrew, and then the US, I think this is the order, the US withdrew, leaving the Palestinians totally unprotected. Totally. Then the person selected to be the president was murdered, assassinated, and they blamed it on the Palestinians. The Christian phalangists blamed it, he was a Christian, because under the Lebanese constitution, the president is a Christian, the prime minister is a Sunni, and I think the speaker is a Shia. The Sunni and Shias are sects of Islam. And that would have been the 14th of September, and the slaughter began on the 16th and lasted 3 days. So, out of that horror, now these people were unprotected, totally unprotected. They had arrived in Lebanon, they were pushed out of Israel in 1948, and some of them fled to Lebanon. Jordan, they fled all over the Middle East. You know? Now, that was to terrorize. So what is happening in the Gaza right now? It's terrorizing. So what is happening in Haiti? Isn't it a similar pattern of terrorizing now? To empty the land? You see?
Yes, sis.
All along, they were able to control the Asian situation with heavy-handed dictators. But they realized that very unwieldy, very sordid, and it's a headache. And really, right now, we don't got no time for that negotiation. We need quick, fast, and hurry. We need the lithium. We need all the minerals we need for electric cars, artificial intelligence, neural processing units, all of that. And Haiti has some of those minerals. So the quickest thing now is to move them out. And how you move them out? Well, they don't want to do what they're doing in Gaza in the Americas. Shoot them dead as they are running and falling. As we speak, YaYa, the Dominican Republic, is going to be returning 10,000 deported persons back into Haiti to die. As we speak, that came up in the news towards the end of last week, I think. So now they're going to die. They know that chaos the chaos in Haiti is total. They know it. So why are they doing anything about it? Why?
Sis, I have to go to a break again. But I appreciate the connections. I hope
and the same is with Guatemala. When they cross that border, if we reach that point, whose side will the world powers be on, YaYa? That's the last question I ask you. Whose side?
Thanks, Sister Sandra.
I ask you a question. Whose side will they be on?
Not Belize.
What? Not Belize.
Not Belize. Based on the pattern that you just showed with Palestine and Guatemala.
Exactly.
And Haiti, not Belize. Thanks, sis. Break time. to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show for this morning, Friday, October 11th, 2024. I cannot take any more calls. At a race for Beat the Clock right now. It's 8:53 and 9 and 9. First up, I have to recognize people on Facebook. Sonia Allen, the things that are done on the religious banner is Stanley Wright. The caller is exactly what's wrong with the politicians in Belize. The Guatemalans are in Belizean waters in the Sarstoon aggressing Belizeans. But the caller without backbone don't see nothing wrong with it. I wonder if someone comes in his house and pushes him around, he probably would just put tail between his legs and don't do anything. The sad part of the whole thing is a lot of people in Belize thinks like him, and it's sad. Sonia Allen, Ms. Coe is totally on point. And lastly, Stanley Wright. How can we as Belizeans have any confidence in the politicians of Belize to protect our sovereignty when they do not even have the backbone to send a letter to the United Nations about the Guatemalans' aggression towards Belize? But then again, even the people themselves don't even speak out about what's happening. Schuman trying to get sympathy for his people in Palestine, and there's nothing wrong with that. But why the government have you as a spokesperson for Belize? For it seems as if you're in it just for the money. And then quickly, I want to show two pictures. I get the Belize Central Transit bus this morning from Ladyville to Belize. When I took that picture, I'm approximately 5:27. So I get on the bus for 5:26. Can you believe that when we get to Belize, they're like 5:44? My positioning, the driver, I will show the next picture because I have that time stamp that I want to get to Belize City. My position is taking 19 minutes, 20 minutes to me. And not because I stop on the road and let people off. I really may want to share with Belizeans, but I know I have sufficient time that since they're only the people who save the people, what it is that we have to learn collectively. There's the Belize Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 230, Revised Edition 2011, showing the substantive laws as of 31st December 2011. This one piece of legislation where we need to get very familiar with. Commuters, we have to turn Bushlaya so we could understand the law and hold the state accountable. This law divided in a number of sections, I think one total of 6, 7, I think there are 9 sections. They have a total of 9 sections. And then they have definitions. So for the purpose of the buses and of the race, on page 12, this is our 87-page document, it have motor omnibus means a public service vehicle other than one licensed as a freight passenger vehicle or as a taxi. I just erased through it so that we, as the people who study complain about the bus services, that we have an understanding of what the legislation is. I think the page 18, I think, page 17, it says section 4, there is hereby established a body to be known as a transport board consisting of 7 members appointed by the minister as follows. 1, the chief transport officer or an officer from within his department designated by him who should also be secretary to the board. So we just want to know who's up on the transport board. You have the chief transport officer, and his name, if I'm not mistaken, I think is Leon Gentle, is the chief transport officer. You have the commissioner of police, and they could send somebody to represent there, a representative of the public transport providers, the chief engineer or an officer of his department, 3 members from the private sector, of whom 2 shall be persons with knowledge and experience of the transportation business, and 1 shall be a representative of the users of public transport appointed by the minister in his discretion. If I have an opportunity to come back again, we the people have to become knowledgeable to hold elected leaders accountable. The Minister of Transport, the Rodwell Ferguson, Youth and Sports. So we just send one clear message as a collective Asians. We need to understand, thanks Christy, we need to understand the law and hold people accountable. It is wrong, it is unethical, it is unsafe for we continue to get in a buses where not safe. I think they have one December 2024 deadline for the upgrading of buses. We need to hear more about that. Have to thank the people then behind the scenes. When I come in 6:30 this morning, the security guard was Solomon Harvester. I said, Solomon, where you get a last name for? I say, I'm from Jamaica. After that, we had Shane Flowers. As the MCO is Krista Flowers, senior engineer Cliff Lewis, and downstairs this morning, Creme Radio, Anthony Grant. We want to thank everybody. We're tuning, we're calling, we put comments on Facebook. People were Brother Pierre Labossiere of Haitian Action Committee, the Haitian activists were calling, Brother Will Mejia, who took a position as the leader of the Belize Territorial Volunteer on Asset Schumann, conversation on Uncut, Channel 7 with Jules. We want to thank Sister Sandra Cowie for always having the global vision and then bring it home to we for say the consistency of what happened in Palestine, what happened in Guatemala, what happened in Haiti, what we think will happen that Belize if things continue to wait and go. Who position do you think the U.S. want to take? So with that said, again, thanks to all Belizeans. I appreciate everybody's solidarity. Kim gonna go, Kelly will bring me breakfast. This show will repeat at 3:30 today on XTV. With health and strength, remember Monday is a public and bank holiday. Tomorrow is Indigenous Resistance People's Day. And I see it as a day of celebration. I see it as a day of recognition. It's a decolonization of what was once the murderer, Christopher Columbus Day, and I think it then became Pan American Day, and now Belize in 2021, the same year when August 1st was recognized as African Emancipation Day, that October 12th was recognized as Indigenous People Resistance Day. And I appreciate Brother Pierre bringing that together as African people and Indigenous people in the region before Columbus came into the region and massacred thousands of Indigenous people. So, I'm going to take care of yourself, enjoy the 3-day weekend, and remember, only the people are save the people. 9 at 9. Thanks.
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day, another day. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is the show of people.